Thank you, Kimberly. Well, welcome. My name is Kim Shepard, and today my presentation portion is going to be on safety, facts, concerns, making a safety plan, and referring you to resources for those of you who have family members struggling with alcohol substance abuse. First of all, let me tell you that the goal of this presentation portion is not to cause more fear, but to empower you families with knowledge, understanding the need for a possible safety plan for your loved one's safety. First of all, I'd like to point out that the state law for drinking and driving, the blood alcohol content of 0.08% is the limit for which police and law officials will issue you and is considered a crime and issue you a DUI. You need to know that this is a safety concern because alcoholism is the third leading cause of death in the United States. Next, I would like to talk to you about fatalities and injuries that are caused by alcohol consumption. And the first statistic has to do with alcohol and driving. More than 50% of fatal car crashes actually involve people who are driving over the consumption limit of 0.08%. And most people don't know that homicides, suicides, fatal burn injuries, drownings, and falls also contribute to people who have been drinking and drinking over the limit. And these are the injuries and obvious severe cause for safety concerns. The next section I would like to talk to you about is severe trauma. Bottom line, when it comes to domestic violence, a majority usually involve people who are consuming alcohol. It escalates to violence. Next, also concerns women, but also men too. Drinking to the point of not being able to fully function and or losing consciousness lead to rape and sexual assault. And the last part are the other safety risks are alcohol poisoning and alcohol withdrawal. I will talk to you more about those in just a few minutes. But next, I'd really like to talk to you about discussing the need with your loved one about a safety plan and what that means and how to go about that, because you're wanting to come more around and connect and support your loved one who is struggling with this, and you need to understand this is in for the long haul. This is not something that's going to be fixed overnight. And you need to remember that no one can control anyone and that they may or may not agree to do a safety plan with you, but that doesn't matter. You're reaching out and choosing to communicate that you're wanting to come alongside, that you're concerned with their safety, and asking if they're willing to do a safety plan. And setting one up would be great. And if they don't, then that's their choice. You've at least done your portion, and I would encourage you still to get counseling about what to do and how to manage this. If they do, here are some tips that I would encourage you to talk about with the loved one about their drinking and a safety plan. Drinking and driving, what is their plan? Do they have a plan? How about setting one up? And Uber and Lyft are taxi services that are offered, and college campuses offer services just to make sure that the loved one has a plan and it has already set it up. Do they know how much they're going to drink, and do they stick to it? Binge drinking is a big, huge issue, especially at college with beer bongs, chugging, and drinking games. And alcohol poisoning can come into that. Do they know when they've had enough? Do they know not to leave drinks unattended or accept an open beverage from anyone, because this can lead to someone poisoning them and then doing inappropriate things that cause severe trauma. And the last thing I'm going to bring up and point out are the need to know for you loved ones the symptoms and difference between alcohol poisoning and withdrawal. First of all, alcohol poisoning is due to binge drinking. It is drinking a ton of alcohol where your body cannot contain. And having this conversation with your loved one, you can basically explain what your plan is if you find them in any of this state. and that you will call 911 or you will call somebody to get help, and that hopefully this will not be an issue. But do they know about this? The next thing I want to talk to you about is basically a loved one that has been drinking for the long term. Alcohol withdrawal symptoms are due to someone that has been drinking for a prolonged amount of time and they reduce their drinking, and then within several hours or days they can end up showing up having these symptoms, and these are the symptoms, and it is something you need to talk about with your loved one, because this should be done in a safe place. It shouldn't be done without a plan of going to a detox program, because alcohol withdrawal is not safe. And in fact, it's one of the severest withdrawal symptoms and needs to be done underneath the medical care. Next, I would also like to talk to you about continuing on this conversation. If your loved one is open about a detoxification program, a treatment center that they are willing to thought about, or you look into it so you can have that kind of information available if they are willing to look into it. Also, joining an AA community with your loved one and going to family counseling with them. Are they willing to do this? If they aren't, that's okay, but it doesn't mean that you can't. In these communities, you will find that you will not be alone and that you will have support and more input of more information than what I can give you at this moment. Here are also 3 safety programs that are in need of understanding that. Particularly look at the bottom one, the ignition interlock laws. Basically 22 states, if your loved one gets a DUI, will automatically have to put this on their vehicle and cannot drive it unless they pass it. And so next I want to leave you with 3 local resources most people have in their community, and that you can reach out to if you don't have access to those other resources. And these agencies, the healthcare provider, local hospitals, and the mental health agency should be able to point you in a good direction. Lastly, I just want to thank you, Nez, for informing you families on giving you information on and facts on alcoholism, and for Kimberly giving you family support, spirituality, and self-worth stuff for supporting you families. And I'm ending with giving you families information on alcohol, facts, concerns, safety plans, programs, and resources. And I thank you for coming and for listening.